Tick/Tock here with a review of the campaign of Modern Warfare 3. I'm ayzke.
And I'm Dino. We stayed up last night from about 8 PM till 12 o'clock. We took just over 4 hours to finish this game, although we were speedrunning it and on one of the lower difficulties. I'm not a big fan of the COD series, but just all the explosions and everything dying and exploding, it's not really necessary. They could have made a much better game and toned it down a bit.
Well, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was action-packed and had you on the edge of your seat.
It's very obviously a run-and-gun sort of game. The stealth missions are very contrived. They're not really stealthy. You don't have any control over the flow of the game in these. You're always following someone else, which I thought really kind of held back the game. It's good to have a bit of personal control over it.
Yeah, definitely. And it seems in these scenes way too scripted. I mean, a lot of the time you're ducking at the perfect moment to avoid a spotlight or someone walking past, and it just seems too convenient.
Yeah. Another big thing I thought about the gameplay was that I ran out of bullets really fast. Like, even though you started off the level with something like 400 or 600 rounds in your M4 or something, it didn't take long for it to run out, and then you pick up one of the AKs and it only had like 30 bullets and it didn't pick up any more.
Yeah, I found that as well. It was really frustrating when you find yourself having to fight through enemies with just your pistol because you run out. And in the previous games, I never had that problem. Usually, there'd just be chances to reload or your ammo would resupply at checkpoints. But I didn't think they did that in this game because I found myself picking up guns a lot, and even then running out and having to pick up another one. And a lot of them are really bad. Like, who puts an ACOG on a submachine gun? That was just ridiculous.
We did it in one sitting because we were racing, but I think it's a one sitting sort of thing. You don't want to be doing this over too many sessions. Really a formula game. There's nothing new happening here.
Yeah, it's very heavily scripted.
Yeah, they haven't they haven't made an attempt to do anything different. It's very formula COD.
Presentation, I think visually it was the explosions, the slow motion scenes, like when the drone flies overhead. That was all really cool. I mean, the graphics are starting to feel like something you've seen before, but you can't really call it bad looking though. It's still a good looking game. The sound, I think it was a bit lacking. It doesn't have that like boom that some other first person shooters have with the weapons and explosions. It's really lacking that like 3D sound, I think.
The voice acting was pretty good, although you didn't talk to the characters much.
Well, I think Modern Warfare 3 and COD series in general really has some of the best voice acting. A lot of games really suffer in that department, and it is obvious that they've gotten they've chosen their voice actors very well. But I have to agree, sometimes there's not enough emotion in the characters' voices, I think. They're so calm all the time. Modern Warfare 2 definitely had a better score. It does sound a bit like a copy, but sometimes you don't really feel it happening, whereas in Battlefield, I'm going to make the comparison once again, it really adds to the emotion and the intensity of the moments, whereas in Modern Warfare 3, I don't even remember it, to be honest. I'm pretty happy that they kind of finished up the whole continuous story from COD 4 to Modern Warfare 2, and now it's finally finished. I think it was a bit finally, yeah.
Thank God.
It was a bit too predictable in some moments, and
very.
The constantly trying to make characters die and then they don't die. It's happened throughout the series.
How many times did they try to kill Soap?
I don't even remember. He's
3-4 times.
What's the bet he's going to come back in Modern Warfare 4?
RoboCop,
Cyborg.
Soap, Cyborg, Modern Warfare 4, Soap coming back at you.
I enjoyed the bit where it was kind of like they had, during the Yuri scenes, they had flashbacks to moments in Call of Duty 4 and Modern Warfare 2. I really like those because it It was the same. It was the same scene, but from really different perspectives.
Yeah, I thought that was good. And it was nice to get a bit wider picture. It was nice, but it could have been done better. If they'd done it right, it might have been good, but it was just way too much and totally implausible. I really didn't identify with it. They didn't make it a big part of the single player. It was a lot of just run and gun and follow instructions. There wasn't much that I actually got into.
And no spoilers, but the ending is very anticlimactic. It's such a high impact, exciting game, and then the ending, it just slowed right down, and I'm glad they wrapped it up to a degree, but I just was expecting more from the ending.
The characters, I think, were one of the big problems with the storyline. I didn't identify with them at all. They were so two-dimensional. I think they were trying to carry on their character building from the previous games. So if you haven't played COD 4 or Modern Warfare 2, it's likely that you're not really going to get into the characters at all. There's just so much of the same stuff. I mean, I didn't play Modern Warfare 2, but I can still see all of the stuff that happened in COD 4 coming back again. Like, even crawling along behind Captain Price, I think I've seen enough.
Yeah, definitely. They need to stop using that. Also, something interesting to notice is the whole controversy factor they try and introduce. They did it in Warfare 2, and I guess that kind of made sense to the story, and I understood why they did that. But in Warfare 3, the scene that they used for the controversy, where the young little girl dies, that was completely useless. You didn't need that in the story, and I guess it tried to make the player feel emotion towards what is happening, but it really just...
It was just contrived. It didn't really contribute to the story whatsoever.
No, it really didn't. It was just kind of like a shock factor thing. I think the game would have been better without it, to be honest.
What are your final thoughts, your overall impression of the game?
Overall, I think the game... I really enjoyed it. Like, even though there are things after I finish the game that I see that's wrong with it, a lot of it you don't really notice because you're going along with it and you're enjoying the whole ride. But I think they need to quit with the repetitive, maybe introduce something new, because I'm starting to feel as though I'm just playing the same game over and over again.
Yeah.
But overall, I think I'll give it a 7.5 out of a 10.
Yeah, I did. I thought it was... very intense and very immersive. It's very typical COD, but I felt that it was... I just constantly got this vibe of Americanism, of being big and huge and explosions. It just felt like one of your latest Transformers movies, where there wasn't much substance to it and it was all just CG and explosions. Look, if you're a fan of the COD series, I'd recommend you go get it. It's, you're not going to be surprised. It's going to be, mostly the same. But it's definitely enjoyable. I'm going to give it, we'll say 7 out of 10.
Thanks for listening, guys. Our next upload will probably be a kill cam episode I'm doing. So head over to my channel, and that'll be up there. Thanks, guys.
All right, see ya.